Two teams who produced clean sheets last week but couldn't get victories collide tonight at Trinity Health Stadium as Hartford Athletic hosts Louisville City FC. Hi, everybody. With my broadcast partner, Phil Murphy, sitting in for Mark Donaldson, I'm Joe D'Ambrosio. Murph, 2 straight clean sheets at home for Hartford. One got a victory last week against Detroit, a draw.
Hartford haven't allowed a goal on this ground in league play since March. That's the bright side of things. Still struggling offensively, just 4 goals scored on the season, but with Anthony Siaha's form, producing a save of the week candidate every time out, there's always reason for confidence you can get a result.
Let's take a look at our ones to watch, and as you might expect, it is the 2 keepers. Left-footed shot, the save made by Siaha. Puts one on goal and tipped away.
Yeah, with Siaha's strong hands every time out, 18 saves on the season, but routinely they're those that you expect are going to be conceded. He keeps the ball out of the net, keeping games within range, but the same can be said for the keeper in goal for Lou City last week against Pittsburgh. Expected goals had this closer to a 2-2 result than a 0-0. Damian Loss, 4 clean sheets, and he seems to be finding his form as well.
Damian Loss, 4 clean sheets on the season. That's among the leaders in USL Championship. And for Siaha, it is 2. Let's get a look at the standings here in Week 10. And as you can see, even though Louisville hasn't lost a game, they're still behind Loudoun United, while Hartford in last place, but only 1 win away from getting into 8th. So every home game important for Hartford. They're in a stretch where they're home a lot as opposed to the end of the season. Starting lineups and opening kickoff next. It is Hartford Athletic against Louisville City on a beautiful night in the capital city. Phil and I will be back with tonight's game right here on ESPN Plus and MyTV9.
An injured knee might look pretty simple, but there's a whole person behind that injury. One who misses the feel of his jump shot and spending time with friends on the court. It's not enough just to heal. He needs to get back out there. At Trinity Health, we're here to help you reach your goals. We combine all the knowledge and expertise of a national health system with personalized health care that treats the individual behind the injury. Because we see all of you.
The Great Fire of 1835 forced most insurance companies to close, but not us. The day our founders pitched in to pay every claim is the day the Hartford became the Hartford.
At Lux Bond & Green, we have been designing and crafting custom jewelry for decades. It's an art as much as a science, and really there's no room for error. It comes down to 100 little choices made by our own artists and experts who listen to you and create your perfect engagement ring by hand. Quality, value, and selection. Lux Bond & Green Jewelers throughout Connecticut and Massachusetts.
Hartford Athletic would like to thank the Mandel JCC of Greater Hartford, the official fitness center of Hartford Athletic. Visit mandeljcc.org to learn more. Last Fly is the leader in airport parking at Bradley International. Save 20% by pre-booking on lastfly.com. Last Fly, a proud supporter of Hartford Athletic. All right, beautiful night, 75 degrees here. Winds blowing from right to left, about 8 or 9 miles an hour. Our lineup brought to you by Liberty Bank, and through necessity, Phil, once again, a different lineup for Brendan Burke's 11.
And, Joe, I'll be really curious what kind of shape this team deploys. It's listed as a 3-4-3. I do think it'll end up being more of a 3-5-2 with Samadia Anderson as your wingbacks flying forward, 2 holding midfielders in Marlon Harrison and Beverly Makangila. Cariaga is going to be in an attacking mid-role, and Brendan Burke told us he wants him to play higher than we saw last time out against Detroit City.
And as far as Lou City is concerned, Danny Cruz not happy with his team last game. So once again, a shakeup in their lineup.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen their back three, and we have Tosh here at left mid. I do think he'll be more of a right back, but 3-4-3 on screen, that's where normally you can copy and paste for this team. They've said this is going to be more of a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2 for them. Niall McCabe is the one that's a little bit of a headliner for us, Joe. He's getting his first start of the season for Louisville City. He's been a part of this team in all 11 of their campaigns at the USL Championship level. The 34-year-old midfielder may be trying to bring some experience to a side that needs to generate more goals.
The man in charge is J.C. Griggs. He was here last year on August 24th when Hartford rallied for a 2-1 win and doled out red cards to Lou City's Adrian Perez and head coach Danny Cruz. Ready to kick things off here on a beautiful night. Maybe some rain in the forecast around 9 o'clock, so it would behoove these sides to play swiftly. And there's knocked away by Goodrum. TJ Prestis, who we'll talk to at halftime, gets it away. Boy, that was almost early disaster.
Yeah, if that caromed another way, you had Goodrum in on goal, and for a Lou City side that hasn't scored in the first half of their last 4 league games, they're looking for a hot start. That was very nearly a gift.
They've only have 3 first-half goals all year, but that works for them because they've only given up 1 in the opening 45 minutes.
Well, Joe, and it was always going to be hard for them to keep up with last season when they had 86 goals in the regular season. There was only one club in USL Championship within 30 of them, and they went on to win the Players' Shield, having more points than everybody. It's nearly impossible to match that standard. Danny Cruz, he seems very happy with his 3 core at the back. Still trying to figure out the calculus of the attack. A set piece here, though, in a potentially very dangerous position.
They've got Adams and Ordonez up front. Davila puts it in play, and Sebastian Anderson knocks it over the east touchline. So it'll be throw-in. Here's Phil's keys to the game. They're brought to you by Hoffman.
Joe, I already alluded to one of them. Test Siaha early. Anthony Siaha, we know, is settling into games, and he's producing a save of the week nearly every time out for a Lou City side that's needed to wait into the second half of their last 4 league matches one of them was a 0-0 draw. They would be advantaged to strike early and take some of the confidence away from Hartford. For Hartford, I had create chaos. That was taken directly from Brandon Burke as the ball's dribbled out of play there by Abalola. Brandon Burke said when they generate turnovers in the midfield, they want to play very directly and not mess around. Use the pace to their advantage. Also, he wants to see Sam Carriaga, their number 10, playing higher up, not receiving the ball as deep as he did against Detroit City.
Sean Toch, number 4, has played more minutes in USL than anybody else. 22,529 coming in. They throw it for Manny Perez. Volleys it in front. Cleared to Obalola. Brendan Burke, when we talked to him yesterday, full of praise for the effort of the young Nigerian. Can go for miles and miles and did last week.
Yeah, he covers more ground than anybody on this team aside from Emmanuel Samadia, but Obalola there looked like a headed ball to the face or maybe caught a limb. I would need to see that on replay, but he's holding his nose.
I think Toch caught a piece of him.
Well, Brandon Burke got off the bench very quickly, was not happy.
Let's see it again. I think you might be right, Murph. I think it might have been a ball.
I just didn't see any limbs that were that close. And Samadia is making a case for a high boot, kind of half-heartedly. But for Hartford, a team that's been so decimated with injury, they could ill afford any issue with really anybody on the pitch now.
And Hartford can ill afford getting anyone else injured. They go into play tonight without Michi Ngalina. Arturo Dizpe is out, and also out is Jack Paniotu.
And that's a shame with Paniotu because his injection into this attack on loan from the New England Revolution, almost instantaneous night and day difference in the opportunities this team was able to create. He goes down on a non-contact injury earlier.
He took an elbow in the face, or an elbow in the face. That's why Brendan Burke was so irate. One thing we're going to see from Hartford tonight is they're going to try to play more direct. They want to stretch this midfield of Lou City. Their strength, those center backs, Kyle Adams, 32, Arturo Ordonez, 5, and Sean Toch, 4. That's as good a trio as there is in the league.
And 2 of those 3 you mentioned, Joe, have played 90 minutes in every match. They haven't sat on the bench at all for them, so they can go those long miles. But we saw Pittsburgh have a little bit of success early last week, playing very direct through Augie Williams. As adept as this Louisville back line is in the air, you can beat them with high-level pace, which Hartford has in Obalola and Jiang. But right now, Hartford's been on their heels for the first 4.5 minutes. They haven't really even had an opportunity to get an outlet with any purpose.
This is a Lou City team tied for 12th in goals scored. Hartford tied for 13th in goals conceded. But at the other end of the spectrum, Lou City leads the league. They've allowed only 4 goals this year. And Hartford in league competition has only scored 4, and that's dead last. And the other thing for Hartford, Phil, they're just not getting enough shots. They're last in the league in shots.
Joe, it has improved, though, from early in the season when you and I were talking before the Indy 11 match, which was ultimately postponed until September. I mean, at that point, Hartford had only had 2 shots on goal. They seem to have made adjustments to generate more scoring opportunities, even in a loss at Charleston Battery. They lost 4-2 at Patriots Point. That showed a little bit more life on the offensive side. Detroit City was more of a stalemate last week, but there are flashes. Most of those have come with Jack Panayiotou in the lineup. Without him, Brandon Burke hoping that this duo up top of Obalola and Jiang with Sam Cariaga receiving the ball higher can unlock things in other defensive sides. But this is a significant test today in Lou City.
Trinity Health of New England, proud to be the official medical provider and title partner of Hartford Athletic. Always committed to providing the best healthcare experience every day for every patient. Trinity Health of New England, we see all of you. Ball played back to Anthony Siaha. Says his nickname is Pepto-Bismol.
Is it the pink thing?
I think that's part of it.
Does he settle the stomach of a lot of Hartford supporters?
I think that could be a reason, although he might have had that name in Monterey Bay. Kept in bounds on the near side by Adrian Perez, who took the red card last year from J.C. Griggs. The other officials, Darren Bandy and Fritz Barbarouse, are the alternate officials. Andrew Parada draws the duty at the table, which, as we know, can always be or sometimes be quite stressful.
And, Joe, seeming like we have an answer to one of our questions from the pregame, looking at Lou City's shape when Hartford gets possession and maintains possession, Lou City dropping back into a 3-5-2 with Adams, Ordonez, and Tosh as your 3 backs, and then the guys who are wide are much more in the midfield.
Dispay in a collision with Manny Perez making the run from the right wing-back position. Siaha listed at 6'5". Mark and I think he's a little bigger than that. We don't buy that.
Well, I give him credit. A couple of the better saves he's made this season, he had to go low to get to. His hands are extremely strong. He was decisive there to come out and really showed no split mindset at all. Knew he was getting the ball and collected it.
High press by Lou City is forcing Hartford into turnovers. That'll be a throw-in. Obalola doesn't believe it. Samadia tries to steal it. Well, now they say it is a Hartford throw-in. J.C. Griggs pointed in the direction of the Hartford goal, indicating a Lou City throw-in, but here's T.J. Preston, who we'll talk to at halftime. Marlon Harrison got back in the lineup last week after sitting out 2 weeks with an injury. Played 57 minutes against Detroit. He was on a minutes restriction.
Definite luxury to have him back against this quality side from Louisville, and to be one of the 2 holding midfielders they're deploying is Hartford from the start.
Obalola with a push, with Ray Serrano on the sidelines as we get another look at Obalola.
Yeah, it's a foul.
Clearly with the push.
He's upset, but look, you want him to play physically, and he's, that's not going to be a yellow over the course of 90 minutes. If he does that a few more times, maybe a little bit of accumulation foul there. But, yeah, if you have somebody who's young, energetic, we know he's going to cover tons of ground. That's kind of a byproduct of just his player profile.
And it's interesting because Hartford is among the league's lowest teams called for fouls. Here's Taylor Davila.
That's a good ball.
Sends it in. Shot goes wide. So we'll get our first corner of the match here in the 10th minute. Nice ball played by Taylor Davila. First team All-USL a year ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was meant to be a cushioning play from Phil Goodrum. He was kind of between two minds himself, but it set up very dangerously on the 6-yard box as Lou City wins a corner.
Here's Niall McCabe, the veteran, getting just his second run of the year. Put in and punched over the goal. So we'll go from the right of Anthony Siaha to the left. Back-to-back corner kicks for Lou City. And we've seen Hartford from time to time this year have issues with defending corner kicks. This one will come from Taylor Davila. His brother Evan will come off the bench for Danny Cruz.
That's another corner one as well. That one off Samadia's back. The first corner nodded over the bar more assertively by Jordan Scarlett, who's somebody who, one of the rare players on Hartford who have not been riddled with or bitten by the injury bug at this point. Somebody with experience from Louisville, signed January of last year from Lou City.
Scarlett in his 34th straight start. And Siaha elevates
collected
easily to come up with that. Tries to start a quick counter.
Just throwing it into space.
Throws it and knocked out of bounds. The Hartford is back again and excited to help our team win. From kickoff to extra time, they're proud to show their support for our amazing community as a founding partner of Hartford Athletic. Visit thehartford.com to learn more.
And, Joe, when that was put out of bounds, Samuel Carriaga was screaming for a quick throw because Hartford did have numbers. I think those are situations which Hartford can generate opportunities. Yes, we talked creating chaos off turnovers in the midfield, but off set pieces when Siaha collects strongly, if he can throw it into space and let one of his attacking players run onto it, Hartford may have numbers.
Turned over by Hartford. McCabe, the veteran, played last year with Rhode Island FC. Jang called for the foul on the far side. Marlon Hairston complaining to referee J.C. Griggs, doing his 4th USL Championship game of the year. He's handed out 11 yellow cards, which isn't a huge percentage in 3 games. We've seen other officials who go into the pocket far more frequently than that.
And we've seen Hartford pick up some cheaper than normal yellows late on in matches, unnecessarily yellow in stoppage time, costing guys matches. So,
Toach with space. Hairston knocks it away, can't clear it. Davila.
Looked like
everybody
it may have been
froze for a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the players thought the ball may have been handled, but
good header.
No real protest.
Good header by Toach. One thing that Danny Cruz told us during the week was he thinks his 3 center backs, Adams, Ordonez, and Toach, are 3 of the best players in the league at using their heads. Not just mentally, but physically.
But that's a particular asset. If you're going to play a team that's going to be direct and pacey and counterattack, which I think Hartford's intent is going to be, you have to be assertive when the ball's in the air, win those aerial duels, and those 3 at the back are as adept as anybody, especially if Hartford were to win a set piece in a dangerous area. To have 3 guys you can trust to go and win a 50-50 ball, turning 50-50 balls into 65-35 propositions is part of the reason that they've only allowed 4 goals on the season.
There's a tough foul at midfield. Joe Farrell taken down. Here's Scarlett. Here's Jordan Scarlett. Hartford really having a hard time of completing 2 passes in a row against this pressure defensive style of Louisville City.
Yeah, there's our tough lines to break, and I think Hartford's best scoring opportunities are going to be on counterattacks and set pieces. That doesn't mean when you win possession like this, you give up. It's just it's going to be hard to get through as they do win a free kick here, about 35 yards from goal. So perhaps this is a situation in which you can see a ball played dangerously into the box.
Marlon Hairston taken down. Randy's Worcester Street Pizza, the official pizza of Hartford Athletic. Stop by the stadium or visit their other Connecticut locations to enjoy some of the best pizza Connecticut has to offer. Let's watch the foul on Hairston here at the Hartford offensive third. Pretty straightforward call against
Kevin Lambert went right through his back. That's a foul 10 times out of 10, and opportunity here for Hartford, whether it's Anderson or Carriaga who plays it in. They'll be aiming for Momo Jiang or Adewale Obalola.
Lambert, the only Louisville player to be issued a red card this year. Loss has to climb Jiang's back to clear it out.
Yeah, fortuitous bounce for Athletic. That was a lower delivery than Carriaga would have wanted. Probably wanted more loft on that ball. Skipped up favorably into a dangerous spot, but Loss very strong, very confident with his hands, and he was terrific last week in that 0-0 draw to Pittsburgh. It's going to take something pretty high percentage, I think, to beat him today.
Has the 4 clean sheets on the season. Hartford gives it away, but there's the ever-present Samadia, who's turned into a real solid force at that left wing-back position for Athletic.
And he covers so much ground. The young man, 16 caps for the Sierra Leone national team. Brendan Burke loves analytics. He works them into our conversations, and he was quick to mention that Samadia covered more ground than anybody last week, as Hartford have a bit of an opportunity here.
Here's Samadia on the left wing. Chips it in front.
Poor service, he knows it. That was nearly the patented Mark Donaldson, get it wide, get it in. They got it wide very quickly, but the left-footed delivery was into the beer garden. I guess the beer garden's not on that side. It was into the seats, nowhere near the top of the 6-yard box, which would have been far more ideal.
The big Scotsman out in North Carolina covering the PGA Championship for the worldwide leaders, so his good friend Phil Murphy sitting in with us, and we're always glad to see Murph. No score into the 17th minute. Possession time has belonged to Lou City, but they really haven't done much with it.
Yeah, and it's no surprise that it's cagey at the start. We know Hartford is without 3 players, 1 center back in Arturo Dispe, but then 2 really creative bodies up front, Michien Galina and Jack Panayiotou. The opportunities that they've created, one off a set piece, one off a half-hearted counter, the ball served in for a goal kick.
Scarlett taken down by Adrian Perez. Knocked the ball over the near touchline. And now they say it is a foul on Perez, the Ontario, California native who led Lou City with assists with 8 a year ago. Joe Farrell, who's been so solid in the middle for Hartford this year, put a little too much mustard on that ball. And we see Brendan Burke waving his arms. He wants his team to press.
Yeah, high press. I mean, you've played it into that corner. Make Lou City work to get it out, and trust the pace of a Samadia or an Anderson to work back if needed. But there's possession 1.
Yep, nice job keeping it in. Carriaga back helping out. Brendan Burke said last week in the scoreless draw with Detroit, Carriaga played a little bit too deep. Feels that playing it at a 10, he'll create more chances.
And he said they focused on that at practice all week, playing him very high and trying to have him receive the ball more close to the defensive back line than the midfield. He said that's probably going to result in fewer touches for Carriaga, but those he gets will allow him to make an incisive pass or even take a shot on goal himself.
Hartford has started to turn possession a little more in their favor as Lou City has dropped its press back up top, but very, very aggressive in the midfield.
This is a nice run of a few minutes here for Hartford. This is a recipe with which they can work. Danny Cruz not happy with that foul call.
Danny Cruz ejected last year by J.C. Griggs. First ejection of his career, the 5th-year head coach. Now talking to the assistant referee on the near side.
We're a good ways out from goal here, Joe, but it's interesting. Carriaga is very centrally, all sorts of space. By design, getting the ball here to either serve it in or give it back to Anderson to do the same.
Here's Anderson. Goes with the right foot. Never got there.
It's not quite enough purchase on that hit.
Beverly Macangila will settle. And there's the sweeper keeper way out from goal, as Anthony Siaha is wont to do. When we talked to him for an interview we'll hear in the upcoming weeks, he said, yeah, he's got a goal in USL Championship. Scored in a late-game situation for Monterey Bay. And he's been bending Brendan Burke's ear about that. Nice ball played on the near side to Manny Perez. No relation to Adrian. Now Davila.
He's the engine.
Marked 1v1 by Hairston, doing a good job on him. Davila being patient. Lambert comes over to help out. Into the box.
Well
TJ
headed.
Prestis with a nice job to head it out of danger. Lambert hustling back to keep the ball in Lou City's possession. Chip toward Perez.
Good battle there between Samadia and Perez as Samadia wins a foul.
Yeah, Perez just shoved him down. So,
and that was clever body positioning from Samadia as well. He knew where that ball was bouncing. 50-50 who got the last touch. Positions his body in front of Perez. Perez runs through him, and the referee has only one option but to blow his whistle.
Pretty obvious call, even if you don't know the game. Hartford Athletic would like to thank Nuova Pasta for supporting our Goals for Meals program. For every Hartford Athletic goal scored this year, Nuova Pasta will donate meals to the fight against food insecurity in our community. So Nuova Pasta certainly hoping to see the Hartford attack go a little bit heavier.
Oh, we got a clash of heads between Jordan Scarlett and...
Is that Serrano? No, it's Perez.
Adrian Perez.
So both trainers come out of the field. Mike Diaz for Hartford, Stuart Wright for Lou City. And, of course, anytime there's a collision involving the noggin, they are very careful, although Perez is up quicker.
Yeah, no ill intent for either player, just going up for a 50-50 ball.
Took Scarlett a while to hit the turf, and Jordan is still down. Jordan Scarlett, a guy who never leaves. In his first game for Hartford last year, coming off an injury, he was subbed out, and in the last 32 he hasn't been. He's played all 90 minutes in each of the last 32 games as they attend to the Hartford captain. This has been a one-sided series. In fact, the win by Hartford here last year on August 24th, their first win ever against Lou City. They had been 6-0-2 against the team in purple, last year's Players' Shields champ, who lost to Rhode Island in the Eastern Conference semifinals.
But candidly, a lot of clubs have struggled against
Yes,
Louisville
exactly.
City. In the USL Championship, they're one of, if not the premier program. If you look at tenure and success and attendance and community at Lynn Family Stadium, and I mean, heck, ownership. I mean, Jack Harlow's part owner of the club. They have a brand, and it's rooted in a lot of on-field success.
Yeah, Brendan Burke in his scrum with the local media yesterday called them the pinnacle of the league, and said for Hartford to be successful, if 10 is the highest level of performance, everybody's got to play an 8. As you look at a guy who always plays as an 8, Anthony Siaha.
But Hartford have been tested. This is 8th game of the season. Joe, if you look at the power rankings in the USL Championship today, this is their 5th opponent in the top 5. They've played the entire top 5 through 8 games. So whilst you would want 4 points through 7 matches, and here we're...
For the year at least, the East much stronger than the West has been. You got Loudoun and Lou City and Charleston up at the top. And
Detroit, and the Western Conference game against a very good El Paso team.
Right.
Obalola here, I think, goes through Perez's back.
Obalola not afraid to be physical.
I mean, go get the ball. And his energy is what has gotten him to work into the spot where he's now making his 3rd start of the season.
Last 2 years has played in the 2nd tier of Lithuanian soccer in Pirma Liga.
Well, Brendan Burke was very confident in his development through the early stages of this season, earning a spot in the 11, a tireless motor. And you want somebody who's going to be up there and not be afraid to stick his foot in, perhaps get lucky with a challenge, and then work back. He does all of those things.
I was going to say use his body, but there's not much body to use. Here's Taylor Davila looking to change fields. Sends it in. Prestis. Nice play by the Yale grad.
Very composed.
Plays it back to Siaha. We'll hear from TJ Prestis, who, even though he's excited to be playing another start, I would think the events down in New Haven may be a little bit more important. TJ getting his diploma from Yale. We talked to him about that at halftime.
Joe, that was a very composed, cushioning header from Prestis, knowing he had an attacking player at his back to put it to Siaha's right, wide of the goal, because God forbid it goes to the keeper's hands, it's out of bounds. That was full marks from Prestis there.
He has impressed. He's been pressed into service because Dispay has been unavailable, and that changes the shape in the back, or who's playing back there, but Prestis has not looked out of place for somebody who this time last year was getting ready for his senior year in the Ivy League.
Hartford making Lou City work to get it off their back line. A little bit of a soft foul there against Beverly Macangila. Lets Lou City off the hook.
No score as we play in the 26th minute. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. Distilled 6 times till it's just right. Tito's known for great vodka, giving back, and doing good for dogs. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Incorporated, Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, and of course, savor responsibly.
Near turnover there in the midfield, cleaned up by Prestis, who laid it off to Marlon Hairston.
So we see a little bit change of tactics from Lou City, not pressing up front as much, concentrating more on that second pass, and good aggressive play that time by Ordonez. Now a run for Lou City. Played off, sent it to the middle. Here's a shot, and Siaha comes off his line to avoid danger.
And looking for a quick counter.
Here's Jag. Tripped up. Foul is called.
Yeah, Brandon Burke wanted to play on there, and he had a decent case for it because Samadia was barreling forward.
Well, we saw the goal that Jang scored this year was courtesy of a play on.
And the fourth official having a conversation with Brendan now on the bench. Yeah. He's not wrong. I think the call there the right call would have been a play on, but I would have taken a little bit of a foresight from the official to see Samadia with that kind of trajectory running forward.
Here's McCabe.
Oh, he's got space.
Open on the right. Manny Perez played it off the side of his foot. You would have expected him to do more with that. Nice play by Cariaga, coming back to knock it away.
He's been impressive, but this leaves no bodies forward for Hartford. I mean, really, it's Momo Jiang's the only player within 60 yards of the Lou City goal.
Kept in by Lambert. Plays in the middle for Davila. Try to play a through ball for Manny Perez. Unable to do so. Hairston uses his head to knock it to Macangila, who dribbles cross field and changes fields to TJ Prestis.
And that's the exact type of play and exhale that Brendan Burke wanted when he paired Marlon Hairston and Beverly Macangila together as multiple holding midfielders.
Hartford Athletic would like to thank Lux Bond and Green Jewelers since 1898, celebrating life's special moments. A little more pressure now by Lou City as Scarlett uses his offhand to ward off Manny Perez. Locks.
Well, especially when Aiden McFadden's not in the 11.
Nice play by Obalola. He gets sent sprawling, and they say play on. No foul there.
Referee not convinced. No real appeal from Hartford there. It was just a good hard challenge from Kevin Lambert.
Obalola, though, a little slow to get off. That was a little physical. Played for Jang. They try to one-touch it through and taken away by Lou City. Macangila pressing up.
Opportunity.
Now Anderson in the box. Try to get it through to Cariaga. Sebastian Anderson will run it down. Leads Hartford with 10 chances created this season.
Well, that was good defending from Adams, Kyle Adams, to just get a foot in there and shepherd that away. That ball was coming in low and hard to a dangerous area.
Adams in his second year with the team in purple. Hartford now settling down. Half an hour in, what's your take?
I think very happy with. They're not playing scared. They're playing physical. They're creating the chaos Brendan Burke wanted. He also wanted a foul call there, which he ultimately gets from referee J.C. Griggs. An opportunity here, Joe. A free kick won 32, 33 yards out from goal.
Possession 63% for Hartford.
And I think a warning here is coming on accumulation. J.C. Griggs, the Hartford players reminding him how many fouls this has been against Sean Tosh. One more, perhaps he ends up in the book.
Total fouls, 9 against Louisville, 6 against Hartford. Jody Ambrosio, Phil Murphy with you, Sir Thomas of Stanwix, our producer, Bobby Kaplan, our director, and our fabulous Power Station crew. It'll be Anderson to initiate the service from the near side.
In swinger.
Headed down by Prestis, but over the goal line, so it'll be a goal kick for the keeper, Damian Loss.
Yeah. Prestis was trying to direct that toward goal. I think in hindsight, maybe more of a cushioning header toward the penalty spot would have been a much more dangerous way to play that and give an Athletic a much better goal-scoring opportunity. Great to climb the ladder and get a piece of it, but going away from goal, he was never going to put much of a threat on Loss from there.
Hartford still looking to get its first shot. 2 shots for Lou City, one of them saved by Siaha, who made a season-high 6 saves in the scoreless draw a week ago here against Detroit City FC. As Scarlett goes down. And once again, the 4th official, Andrew Parada, big Brendan Burke.
Seen Perez go through the back of Samadi a couple times and Obalola once. That when Scarlett went down, I think he held up 4 fingers again. And the referee, quick to his pocket, showing the yellow card, a caution issued to Perez.
Second of the year.
Yeah, studs up, reaching his legs in. That's always going to be a foul, and when you've already drawn a whistle a few times, that's how you get a yellow card through half an hour. Now, Lou City, we know that Danny Cruz is not afraid to make sweeping changes. That's one he's probably going to tuck away. He does have a number of very strong midfield options on his bench.
Siaha puts a foot into it. Into the box. Here's a shot, and a save made by Damian Loss. First shot of the game for Hartford.
Obalola's upset with himself, but that first touch fell pretty fortuitously to Momo Jiang, and if not for a well-placed Lou City defender, that was going on net with some pace.
There you see the 23-year-old from Des Plaines, Iowa.
U.S. Youth national team player at the U15, U17 level. He's been terrific for them. Again, only 4 goals allowed for Lou City on the season.
Hairston very active in the midfield. Kind of an aimless pass by Scarlett. So it'll be a throw-in for Sean Toach, 33-year-old from Fargo, North Dakota. In his 9th year with Lou City. This is a team that before last year had made the Eastern Conference Finals each of their first 9 years in USL Championship.
And, Joe, I think if we fast forward to November, it wouldn't surprise anybody if they do it again. It looks different than they did last year, Danny Cruz said, and he said to people beyond us, he was kind of sick of the 5-2 score lines from a year ago. Their wins have been much more 2-0, 1-0, but this is a team with all sorts of pedigree that as the stakes get higher, they find a way to get results.
Well, as you said, a little different look up front. Warren Morris was a goal-scoring machine last year. This year, Serrano, who didn't get the start, leads him with 3 goals.
Yeah, Wilson Harris going to ply his trade in Israel, taking 19 goals with him, and Lou City hasn't quite figured out the calculus to replace that kind of finishing ability. Not for lack of effort. I mean, you look at the top 3, the front 3 that Danny Cruz has put forward, it changes almost every match. And the in-game adjustments have worked well. I mean, they were 0-0 at the half to Lexington. They win 2-0. They were 0-0 at the half against Tampa Bay Rowdies in Tampa, where they hadn't won since 2018. They win 2-1. Hartford need to capitalize on opportunities they get here, because as it does get later, Lou City's depth on their bench and their abundance of attacking options will keep them in the game.
9 of their 12 goals have come after halftime, as Hartford called for the first offside of the match. Samadia wins the battle with Toch, but goes back to Kyle Adams.
Referee thought to blow for a foul against Momo Jiang there.
Now
a little
he's
bit of a
got
late challenge.
Philip Goodrum, the well-traveled striker.
Set a USL record for his transfer fee in from Tulsa last August, and then made 13 appearances, but 9 off the bench. He's been more of a regular member of the 11 this time around, as his header goes right to Anthony Siaha.
Goodrum 1 goal away from 50 in his USL career.
Looking for a quick counter here.
Jang can't control, and Adams plays it back to his keeper.
Very well handled from Kyle Adams there.
Free in the middle, Taylor Davila. Ball had a little too much mustard on it. Samadia says, I'll take that. Now Carriaga. Haven't mentioned him as much as we thought we might.
No, but he has contributed off of set pieces. And Brandon Burke said if he's going to want to have him receiving the ball higher up, he's not going to be on the ball as often as he was against Detroit City. So he'll trade a couple meaningless touches in the midfield if he can get more dangerous ones higher up. So we're going to call his names less often. But I have been impressed so far with Samadia and Obalola, their contributions on the left side. Hartford generating some semblance of opportunity there.
Seeing a primary care provider regularly is essential to your health. Trinity Health of New England's primary care providers offer comprehensive preventative care. To make an appointment, easy. It's easy. Call 1-833-CYOUNOW. That's 1-833, the letter C, YOUNEW, or visit trinityhealthofne.com/primary care. Shots 2 apiece, only 1 shot on target. Prestis called for the foul upfield, and he gets a yellow. The first of TJ Prestis' professional career, coming here in the 38th minute.
Joe, I think that was Sebastian Anderson, getting the foul.
All right. Second for Anderson on the season. See what he does here to Lambert.
Late, heavy challenge, no ill intent, just went in with purpose, and he knows he was late to it. So now we're 30 to 35 yards out from goal, Lou City with a set piece and an opportunity, and this allows their center backs to get forward, some players who are very adept in the air.
They put the big people up there. 32 Adams, 31 Lambert, 5 Arturo Ordonez.
But Lou City does need to be aware, because Anthony Siaha has been keen to catch these and use his throws to spring something of a counterattack.
Chipped in. Siaha goes to his knees,
Springs
and here
up.
we go. Long throw upfield for Obalola, and it's headed out.
Yeah, he threw that over the center line. And the famous World Cup goal, Landon Donovan, go USA against Algeria, that was all sprung from a Tim Howard throw that traveled a good 55 yards in the air.
So Carriaga plays in the middle to Marley Hairston. Played back in the midfield to Joe Farrell. No score. Approaching 40 minutes of the first half. Macangila tried to split 2 defenders and has it taken off his boot. Here's a counter. Manny Perez plays it into the box. Clear in front. Shot and a goal. It is Philip Goodrum. His 4th career goal against Hartford. That was made by the quick trigger up the field, and it's 1-0, Lou City.
And the 50th goal of his USL Championship career, and it was on a counterattack. Adrian and Manny Perez linking up and then putting it in a very dangerous position. Goodrum, all he does is have to redirect it on frame. Nothing Anthony Siaha can do, and that's the danger of this Lou City squad. Now Hartford needs to maintain their composure because Lou City, they get punches in bunches. It's taken them a while to break gridlocks. Their first half goal now in more than 4 games, they have it. Hartford need to maintain their composure because up until this point, this game's been going in a way that does favor them a little bit.
Hartford had been 313 minutes without giving up a goal at home. For Philip Goodrum, just his second goal of the year. His other goal came against Lexington back on May 1st. As I said, his 4th career goal against Hartford.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a gut punch, but that's the danger of an experienced Lou City squad. A counterattack going. There wasn't any egregious mismarking. It was just 2 precise passes, put the ball in a dangerous spot, and it's redirected home.
Adrian Perez getting his first assist of the season. So Hartford chasing the goal. And this will be a big final 5 minutes of the first half. Are able to come to the matches free of charge. So Goodrum from Adrian Perez, Manny Perez, a big part of that play as well, on the counter in the 40th minute.
And I'm sure very satisfying for Danny Cruz, whose attack had been kind of canceled out by what Hartford had done, and then right on the cusp of halftime, they go up a goal. It really does change kind of the temperature here of this match.
It's the 6th time this year that Lou City has scored the first goal of the match. They are 4-0-1 previously when scoring first, the only undefeated team in the league with 5 wins and 3 draws. Their only loss came in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, 1-0 to Minnesota United. That was before the Pittsburgh game and defense. Easily, Damian Lass comes off the line to pick that off and throw it to a wide open Taylor Davila. Offside. Hartford executes the trap. First time Lou City has been called offside. This teams will close the regular season against each other in Kentucky at the end of October the 25th.
Yeah, Layden Family Stadium was a house of horrors for Hartford last year, a 6-0 loss in their trip to Kentucky.
Scarlett loses the battle with Goodrum, but his pass picked off expertly.
Yeah, good for Marlon Harrison to work back there. That could have spelled trouble.
Now Hairston gets it. Lays it off to Samadia. Tries to play it ahead for Jang. Headed away by Adams.
That came off Lambert's boot.
That should be a corner, a throw-in because Adams got there.
Yeah, Ordonez
got there and knocked it over the west touchline. No, they do call it a corner kick.
I think that's a little bit unlucky for Lou City. At first glance, it looked like Ordonez got there in time.
First corner for Hartford, as you see, Emmanuel Samadia. That's the hairstyle that Donaldson has covering in Quail Hollow, by the way. Left footer. Prestis gets ahead on it. Obalola taken down. Counterattack, Lou City.
Anybody here in green and blue wanted a penalty there.
So, Brignell Vineyard stoppage time, 2 minutes.
Obalola looks like he's getting booked for simulation. He is.
Here. For Adewale Obalola, his 3rd yellow of the season.
J.C. Griggs signifying diving. I would need to see that again. I do think there was contact on Obalola. There's a difference between going down easily and complete simulation and earning yourself a booking.
Let's get a look at it. You'll see Obalola in the box. Well, I'm not sure how you can call that a dive because there was contact. Now, whether it was severe enough, is one thing.
I think the no call there would have been more appropriate than a yellow card for simulation. Because to your point, there was contact. Though Obalola, I think his intent was to try and draw a penalty.
Lambert from 21 yards just sends it over the crossbar. Brendan Burke barking at Andrew Parada, the table official. No table service from him for the Hartford bench. So 2 yellows on Hartford in the match. 2 minutes of stoppage time. Once again, Hartford trying to go direct, but that center 3 of Louisville, Phil, makes it very tough to capitalize on that type of an attack.
Yeah, the one spot where Hartford does have an advantage over the back 3 of Louisville is in their pace with Momo Jiang and Obalola. But if you don't spring quickly enough to be able to leverage that pace, you're just kind of playing these searching long balls with a low success rate.
Prestes comes over to head it into the stands on the near side, right in section 7.
Now, where there might be opportunity, Emmanuel Samadi has been playing very wide, and instead of the long ball over the top, to quote our good friend Mark Donaldson, get it wide, get it in, perhaps is a better recipe. If they win a ball off of a set piece or off a corner and Siaha can throw it, yeah, go direct, use all the green grass in front of you. But when Lou City have bodies behind the ball, they're so good in the air, it's going to be hard to break them down that way.
Good work by Jordan Scarlett there to force the turnover. And the ball over the near touch line, so Samadia will throw it in as we are approaching the end of the first half. 2 minutes of stoppage time, and no reason to think it'll be more than that.
No, it's been a pretty fluid first half, aside from the brief clash of heads involving Jordan Scarlett, and then, of course, the goal from Lou City.
Now, Jang.
Another clash of heads there, just incidental contact, sack pedaling, and ran into Ordonez and opened him up above the eyebrow.
So, once again, head athletic trainer Stuart Wright onto the pitch. And he is cut. Might need the fight doctor, Freddie Pacheco, in to close that cut.
Yeah, thankfully, if there is any silver lining for a situation like that, we're seconds from halftime. It gives the medical team a good 15 minutes to tape that up. Lou City in their River Kit away whites, nowhere to hide that if it gets on the shirt.
So they continue to apply pressure to the Spaniard, Arturo Ordonez.
Part of that center back trio, Adams, Ordonez, and Tosh, who every time they're in 11, Joe, you can basically pencil them in for 90 minutes. And they're having trouble closing that up.
Yeah, with Pittsburgh and, well, it looks like it's bleeding from a couple of spots perhaps. In 23, Ordonez, the USL Defender of the Year with Riverhounds.
Yeah, I think this is a situation in which ultimately the trainer is going to have him leave the pitch because, again, we are seconds from the halftime whistle and just get a jump start on.
Well, it looks like the cut's out. It looks like he's also got a cut. No, it's the same cut.
It's the same cut. It's just it's a very wide cut, which is it's surprising. It's so significant because it was such an incidental. I don't want to even call it a collision between he and Momo Jiang. It was, one player turned and tried the run, and the other one was standing there.
Well, let me say this as someone who can relate to this. If he's on blood thinners, then that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. There might be greater concerns of, playing the sport at this level
if you need blood thinners.
Right.
But he is bleeding pretty well up there. That's a pretty deep cut.
Our camera team's all over it, and we're getting
we're getting the camera from midfield right on it.
Play-by-play of the cut man doing his thing.
And they'll take him into the locker room and stitch him up.
But I think this is where it's okay for the officiating team and have an honest conversation amongst themselves. I mean, the halftime whistle was probably coming in 15 seconds anyway. And so, just have him step off, go in the tunnel, address it.
Yeah,
you're going to have a drop ball and
throw in for Samadia. Back to Farrell. We should get the halftime whistle momentarily.
Yeah, maybe one more ball forward, but there hadn't been many stoppages in the first half.
Joe Farrell Goes north-south. Long ball, played for this side for Samadia. Headed out. Hartford throwing.
They better go quickly.
Maybe time for one more play.
Taking a lot of time here.
Well, they want Anderson to come and make the throw in. He's the long throw expert for Athletic. Halftime here at Trinity Health Stadium. A pretty evenly played first half until the 40-minute mark when a Lou City counterattack resulted in the first goal of the game, the 50th of Philip Goodrum's career. At halftime, Lou City won, Hartford no score. Phil and I will be back with our halftime show next here on ESPN Plus, MyTV9, and WTNH.com.
If anyone thinks cancer is going to define you, they've got another thing coming. We know you are more than someone healing their heart. At Trinity Health, we know the importance of seeing the person behind the patient, the fear, the joy, the journey. Bringing you the expert medical teams and state-of-the-art technological advancements of a national health system, along with the personalized care that helps you feel better. Because we see all of you.
The Great Fire of 1835 forced most insurance companies to close, but not us. The day our founders pitched in to pay every claim is the day the Hartford became the Hartford.
You get a look at the crowd here on a beautiful night at Trinity Health Stadium. Hartford and Lou City scoreless, Phil, until the 40th minute when the defending Players' Shields champion broke through.
And right.
Good ball ahead. Las Vegas has done it!
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way.
Focus!
Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power.
Whatever it takes.
Trusted for over 100 years. Tiger Balm's proven herbal blend tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger so that you can rise above pain.
Let's make a Karate Kid.
And get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Wait, come back! Wait, come back, I need more help.
Take a love affair. Take a love for free.
Today we went to the beach, and it was totally worth it. Stay 3 nights this summer at Best Western and get $50 off a future stay.
How does Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water keep you in the game? We always source our water directly from the natural spring to fuel every body, no matter how you like to move it. So whether you're chasing your goals or just staying active this summer, make sure to stay hydrated with Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water. Always bottled at the natural spring source.
Who wants that smoke? You want that smoke? Look, I ain't playing, I'm saying this ain't a joke. There ain't no bluffing, I'm calling you out for show. It's either all in or nothing, I go for broke. Who wants that smoke?
An injured knee might look pretty simple, but there's a whole person behind that injury. One who misses the feel of his jump shot and spending time with friends on the court. It's not enough just to heal. He needs to get back out there. At Trinity Health, we're here to help you reach your goals. We combine all the knowledge and expertise of a national health system with personalized healthcare that treats the individual behind the injury. Because we see all of you.
Time for USL News and Notes. Lou City had a chance to equal the consecutive home runs record last week, and Pittsburgh had other ideas. The league getting more exposure through the largest Spanish-language sports television network. and it's a horse race out west. Well, this is a big weekend for TJ Prestis, but this is the biggest thing on his weekend as he's graduating from Yale. Mark Donaldson and I had a chance to talk to the rookie wingback earlier this week.
So the only collegiate player on this team, what's that like for you being the you're not the youngest guy in the group?
I'm not the youngest, no.
Yeah. But what's that like for you coming right from the Ivy League to the USL?
It's a really weird transition. I couldn't quite feel like a pro just yet, but I wasn't really a college student still. And it was a really weird few months where I was just trying to navigate everything, but we're done now. No more exams. Thank God. That was a lot.
Your goalkeeper says because of his pink shirt, his nickname is Pepto-Bismol. Given your background and your brains and your brawn and your Yale history, have you picked up a nickname yet?
I haven't. When we were doing a finishing drill last week, Scarlett yelled "Scholar" when I took a shot and I went in, but that was about it. So things change, or it's just Yale comments here and there.
Bulldogs?
Yeah. Becky says he's at Yale with me now. He just sent his application. So I'll be seeing him around campus a little bit, I guess.
Well, Mark and I applied to Yale. There's just a thing called the college boards that kind of kept us out.
Yeah.
And a lack of knowledge.
And a lack of knowledge.
Talent.
Obviously, for people who don't know the story, your parents were terrific soccer players. Your mom was a captain at SMU. They went to the semifinals of the College Cup. Tom, your dad, won 2 MLS Cups, was a superb goalkeeper. Your two siblings play, your 2 brothers play. What was it like growing up in a soccer household like that?
I mean, my brothers and I, we kind of played everything. It was soccer most of the time. But every day after school, playing outside, playing in the bonus room, making games up. Games were always on. A little bit of FIFA here and there, which definitely caused some arguments. A few broken controllers. No broken walls. That's good.
Yet.
But no, it was just a ton of fun. Especially back then, and even now, soccer was just a game. It was a great way for my family to bond. I mean, COVID was the best time because my dad was working from home, and the 5 of us would go out every single day and just go have training sessions, all 5 of us, and that was awesome. So
you might be one of 5 people in the United States who would say COVID was a great time.
I thought it was fun. I just got to play soccer, play some video games, a little bit of school here and there.
Yeah.
But
if I took one of those little bits of card that Joe has in front of him right now, and it was blank, and I said to you, okay, this is a football field, put down where you think your best position is. Where would you put yourself down?
I think just given what I've played the most recently, I would put it at a right-sided center back, but I really have no preference. I started out as a midfielder, as a 6, pretty much like anybody else, and then growing up in the Columbus Crew system, and when Greg Berhalter was there and how much they want their center backs to be comfortable on the ball, building up, they moved me back. There was actually, I believe it was Nico Estevez, who's now the coach at Austin, when he was the old academy director, and what they told me was play center back like you're a 6 and you just drop down. So it was really easy for me to make that transition. When I got to college, I started playing on the left side more, play a little bit of left back. I play a little bit of left back here, pretty comfortable on my left foot. I don't really have too much of a preference. So really anywhere along the back line, I'm comfortable, but right side center back, since I've played there the most recently, so that's probably my best spot.
When we spoke to Jordan Scarlett, he turns 30 in July, and I said, what would you tell the 20-year-old Jordan Scarlett? Where do you hope to be? That was 10 years prior for him. Where do you hope to be in 10 years from now? What do you hope to have achieved in this game?
I think just with the way the soccer world moves nowadays, how quick it is, and I don't want to put any labels or necessarily specific goals like, hey, I have to be here in this league, at this team, at this age, because I know, because I'm a fairly anxious person and I stress a lot, that'll consume me too much. All I'm concerned about is being the best version of myself, the best player I can be. And, that's what I spoke to my parents about, is whatever level that happens to be, wherever team, that's fine. But just play at the highest level that I can, push myself as much as possible. So if I can look back in 10 years and say, over those 10 years, you gave it everything you had, this is where you are, then I can live with that.
Yeah.
All right, 2 New Haven questions after spending 4
Pizza,
years
I bet one of them's pizza.
What was the go-to pizza place?
I like Bar. I think Bar.
Really? Okay, I've heard that.
One proximity,
Yeah.
right? It's the closest
Next
to
to
campus,
campus, right.
so it makes it super easy. But I think Bar is great.
What would you recommend if we're going to go down there?
Mashed potato pizza from
Oh.
Bar. I promise you, it's fantastic. Mashed potato and bacon
I had
pizza.
one of them the other day, and it
Or
was
the
really
brisket
good.
one.
Not
The
from
brisket
there.
one.
A brisket I could
The brisket
take.
one's good.
I could take.
Brisket
Why
one's
not?
good.
Why not mashed potato?
And never been a mashed potato fan. Sorry.
Pineapple on a pizza, yes or no?
No.
Not for me. Not for me.
Good, thank you.
If people want to do it, fine.
Toughest class at Yale.
I've taken some tough ones. My freshman year, I thought I was taking an easy class with a couple of my teammates based on like some of the course search websites, and it was some advanced anthropology course. I forget what it was called. My teammates and I, we had to take it for credit, just to get like a 70% to pass before the final. Just to get a 70%, I slept 2 hours with him. We pulled an all-nighter. Essentially, we napped from 6 to 8 with a 9 a.m. test just to barely pass this class.
And you passed.
I did.
And you're graduating Yale. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Great stuff.
This week on USL All Access One in Knoxville. We'll also talk about a disappointing week in the Open Cup for the USL Championship, including what's wrong in Tampa Bay. It's all coming up this week on USL All Access on SiriusXM FC.
If anyone thinks cancer is going to define you, they've got another thing coming. We know you are more than someone healing their heart. At Trinity Health, we know the importance of seeing the person behind the patient, the fear, the joy, the journey. Bringing you the expert medical teams and state-of-the-art technological advancements of a national health system, along with the personalized care that helps you feel better. Because we see all of you.
The Great Fire of 1835 forced most insurance companies to close, but not us. The day our founders pitched in to pay every claim is the day the Hartford became the Hartford.
Ready for the second half. Lou City up 1-0 on Hartford Athletic. Our match brought to you in part by LDI Connect. Don't forget, enter the Prinks Tires Tailgate Kit Sweepstakes for a chance to win a prize pack worth up to $3,000. Scan the QR code on screen to enter today. With that, you can also get Phil Murphy's home phone number. So if you're Brendan Burke, what's your strategy going into the second half here? How much do you change?
Man, Joe, for the first 38 minutes, it was looking like things were starting to move in Hartford's favor. They were calculated in their buildups, perhaps slow at times, but they were cautious. They didn't want to have a turnover in the midfield. The one time they did, it proved costly. Their counter-attacking pace has been silver lining. There are attacking options to whom Brendan Burke can turn. And we saw during the halftime interval that Kyle Edwards, Deshane Beckford, they were warming up with a bit of purpose. It wouldn't surprise me if they get called upon to try and inject some kind of life and creativity into this attack to find an equalizer.
As for now, both teams stay the same. If you're just joining us, Hartford playing without Arturo Dispe, Michi Engalina, and Jack Paniotu. They're checking Ordonez's jersey. He went down with that cut. He's got a huge bandage.
Yeah, kind of an innocuous collision between he and Momo Jiang in first half stoppage time that stopped the game for 2.5 minutes, and ultimately the trainer could not stop the bleeding above his right eye. It looks like they did sort it out over the interval, the center back.
You can see it's right at the right corner of the right eyebrow.
Yeah, fight night here in Hartford.
Yeah.
But again, it was the most seemingly inconsequential collision. It's just you hit him in the wrong spot, did Momo Jiang, when they clashed heads, and Ordonez got the worst of it.
Lou City will initiate play in the second half. It's a beautiful night here in the capital city. As you look at Anthony Siaha, could not be blamed for the Phil Goodrum goal.
Oh, nothing he could do about that.
So Lou City stays the same. Goodrum and Adrian Perez, Amadou Dia up front, Kevin Lambert, Taylor Davila in the midfield. In the back, Kyle Adams, Arturo Ordonez, Sean Toach, and Manny Perez. Now McCabe getting his first start of the year in the midfield as well. Lou City in the white, trimmed in purple. Hartford in the familiar green and white. It'll be a Hartford throw-in. And once again, we see Lou City picking up with a high press for the Hartford throw-in.
Yeah, Hartford having yet to show Lou City any real threat on incisive build-ups and breaking the lines. Really, their best opportunity is springing counters. And even there, Sebastian Anderson.
He overran the ball. Played up ahead, too far, and buried over the near sideline by Amadou Dia, the Nantes, France native. Played his college ball at Clemson.
But I don't know how that was a foul on Carriaga. Amadou Dia came right through Carriaga, and the presumption was when the whistle blew.
Yeah,
but on mine, that's a throw-in for Athletic. Nonetheless, Amadou Dia, the young man from Nantes, wins the foul and a free kick for Lou City.
Here's Lambert trying to get possession. Knocked away from him. Jordan Scarlett boots it upfield, intended for Jang, but Ordonez says no.
Good to see Ordonez's bandage is holding up in that headed clearance. Early test on the cut man's work.
You can trust on Band-Aid.
But Danny Cruz did praise his back three's ability to win those aerial duels and stifle a counterattack. We saw it on display there.
Opening minutes, second half. Philip Goodrum, the only goal of the match in the 40th minute. Sliding tip in. Now Jang plays it on the left. They try to lead Jang, but Goodrum has it played off him. They say Jang touched it last, so it'll be a goal kick for Damian Loss.
Yeah, that ball was always a bit hopeful to Jang. Would have had a hard time getting to that with how it was weighted and directed. And credit to him to continue to press high and try and pick it off Ordonez's pocket. Concedes a goal kick.
Lou City has outscored the opposition after intermission 9-3. Hartford has been outscored after intermission 7-2, if you're into those sort of things.
Just a relentless stretch of schedule for Hartford, having now played every member of the top 5 in the USL Championship power rankings through 8 matches.
Yeah, with a nice slide tackle, and then Anderson called for a foul, and I'll tell you where Brendan Burke's working himself into a lather on the near sideline.
I would need another look at that to give any correct judgment, which is an advantage that we have that the on-field officials don't, in fairness.
Well, without any video replay in the league.
I will say it did seem like the Lou City player himself was relieved, if not surprised, that the whistle went there for a foul.
That's a couple times in the first 3.5 minutes of the second half that we've seen that. Certainly the play in front of the bench that was called a foul. So it'll be corner number 4 for Lou City. They had 3 in about 21 seconds in the first half.
They did. One shepherded over the line by Scarlett, another one more fortuitously deflected over the line. Obviously a defensive position, especially with Taylor Davila standing over it. But Hartford has shown the ability to counter off set pieces like this. Easily caught from Siaha, and now he's looking to throw.
But the problem is Jang was back helping to defend and went down. And there was set up by Adrian Perez. Jang thrown to the ground by Ordonez, and that'll be a booking. Arturo Ordonez with his 3rd yellow card of the season here in the 50th minute.
And no dispute from Ordonez. He grabbed a handful of jersey, pulled back Jang deliberately. That's a yellow card every day of the week, but that's The freedom you get when you're not playing with one to your name. You get one freebie.
So, potentially dangerous set piece for Hartford. About 35 yards out.
Yeah, a few things you can do with this, Joe. It's going to be hard for them to threaten the goal straight on. You're basically hoping for a cushioning header to fall to your feet. I'd keep an eye on Emmanuel Samadia out wide. Maybe a brisk pass to him and then an in-swinging bit of service looking for Jiang.
Carriaga and Anderson both in position to take the kick. It'll be Anderson.
They'll go straight forward.
Headed by Goodrum in the air. Ball is free. And we've got a foul on Hartford, so that ends that possession. Fans, join us for our next home match Friday, June 6th against North Carolina at 7:30 p.m. as we celebrate Community Health Night presented by Trinity Health of New England. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today at hartfordathletic.com. Athletic play 2 straight on the road after this. They hit the road next week for a game at Indy 11 and then a Jägermeister Cup game in Westchester against League One Westchester SC.
And then, Joe, they saved some gas mileage for the month of June. No away matches between May 31st and July 12th. 4 consecutive here on home ground between league play and Jägermeister Cup.
North Carolina, Charleston, Loudoun, and Detroit. Not exactly the soft underbelly of USL Championship.
The aforementioned top 5 in the USL Power Rankings, 3 of them there qualify.
Siahat tries to start the attack. Good work by Jiang to retain possession. Played up ahead to Anderson, but it was a soft pass, and Hamadou Dion knocks it over the near touchline. Quick restart for Hartford. Now they say do it again because there's 2 balls on the field.
2 balls on the field.
That is not something that USL has implemented yet.
Joe, warming up for Hartford right now, Jonathan Jimenez and Deshane Beckford. So 2 attacking options, either midfield or up front, to try and inject some life in this attack as Hartford look for an equalizer.
I would think we'll see Jimenez for either Hairston or Beverly Mackingill.
Yeah, one of the holding midfielders for sure.
To try to open things up a little bit. Boy, Farrell almost turned it over. Battling for the ball. Joe Farrell using his physicality to keep possession for Hartford, but they give it right back away.
And there was room for Samadia there, but the pass was too narrow. He was standing on the touchline. A wider pass could have presented an opportunity. Now you have to worry about the counter.
Dribble. Here's the counter. On the goal line, deflected. Kept in by Manny Perez. Plays it back to Sean Toach. Ordonez will play it up ahead. Lou City controlling the ball, and then they decide to play it back to Las. Pressed by Jiang. Plays it upfield. Sebastian Anderson can't control. McCabe does. Now Kevin Lambert races up the near touchline. And Siaha off the line to catch what was a harmless clear in.
That was ruled a goal kick that it went over the end line.
As you see, Anthony Siaha gave up his 12th goal of the year. He's got 1 save tonight. Hartford still waiting for that initial shot on target. I've seen a couple of games this year as that ball played errantly over the far touchline in front of the Athletic fans. Into the 55th minute. Hartford chasing a goal here at Trinity Health Stadium. Lou City, much like the beginning of the game, Phil, controlling the ball here in the opening minutes of the second half. There's a nice run into the box. They try to get it to Goodrum, and it'll be a corner kick, the 5th of the match.
That was a good challenge there from Jordan Scarlett. Not a lot of margin for error after Perez beats him. And just gets in, gets all ball, puts it over the end line, conceding a corner, but he wanted a goal kick. He wanted it all. That was just a well-timed challenge because had he missed, that would ended up on the penalty spot.
From the northeast corner, an in-swinger. Bicycle kick. Sails over the goal line, so it will be a Hartford goal kick. The Fix is Connecticut's premier standalone IV vitamin therapy boutique offering customized intravenous vitamin infusions and intramuscular vitamin injections that maximize health, performance, and recovery, with all services administered by licensed registered nurses. Located in West Hartford Center, visit thefixivtherapy.com to learn more.
Potentially costly turnover here.
Here's a shot, and that is sailed towards the canteen behind the north goal. So it'll be a goal kick for Anthony Siaha.
Hartford struggling to play it out of the back. And you mentioned it. We saw this in the first half where for the first 5 or 10 minutes it seemed like the entire cadence of play was within 35 yards of the Hartford goal. And then they came into the match and were possessing it primarily on Louisville's half until the equalizer came on, or the go-ahead goal came on a counterattack.
Here's another counter for Louisville. Takedown in the box, nothing called. Hartford turns possession. The other thing that's happened so much in the second half, Phil, is on Hartford goal kicks, it seems like Louisville's getting possession every time.
Yeah, Hartford just can't hang on to the ball, and Amadou Dia here with a chance.
It played wide to Dia. In the box. Lambert. Too far. Goal kick, Hartford.
Yeah, Brendan Burke's imperative for the team that he shared with us was create chaos. In the first 10 minutes of the second half, Louisville seems all too comfortable on the ball in Hartford's half.
We're going to have our first substitution for Louisville. It's going to be the younger Davila, Evan Davila, in for Adrian Perez at the first opportunity, and there it is. So Evan Davila drawing in for the 7th time this year. Pac-12 first team in 2023 with the Cal Golden Bears. Whatever happened to the Pac-12?
Oh, it's a sad story, Joe.
They're in the ACC. They're in the Big Ten.
Yeah, there's nothing Atlantic about Berkeley, California, if you've ever been.
Or Palo Alto.
Or SMU while we're at it. Nothing Atlantic or coastal about Southern Methodist. But it'll be interesting to see how they slot in Evan Davila here. They have him playing up front almost as a forward. He's been primarily a central midfielder for this team, but seems like a like-for-like swap in this 5-3-2 with which Lou City's experimenting as a clash of heads sends Marlon Hairston to the turf.
Where we have seen players collide heads. That is 3 times now, as trainer Matt Diaz will appear on your screen momentarily. Gives us to tell you a chance that Flourish is proud to be the official catering partner of Hartford Athletic. Oof. They provide healthy and delicious catering, meal prep, and takeout. Visit them online at flourishhartford.com or stop by their flyby location at 72 New Park Avenue in Hartford. I was down reading the copy, but I heard an oof from you.
Yeah, that was an errant elbow as Kevin Lambert tried to climb the ladder and win a header.
Joe Farrell, as you can see, not real pleased that no infraction was called.
I mean, they did blow the whistle for the foul. It wasn't malicious to where I thought it deserved a booking. Looks like Jonathan Jimenez is going to come on here, Joe.
So it will be the Norwalk native, Jonathan Jimenez, and he will draw in for Marlon Hairston. Last week we saw Marley coming off injury play 57 minutes. So Jimenez, the first sub for Brendan Burke, playing for his 6th time this season.
And that's a sensible swap. I imagine Jimenez will play in a more advanced position, and Beverly Macangila, wearing number 6, can be in a true number 6 role.
Hour in, 1-0. Lou City on the Philip Goodrum goal in the 40th minute. Here's Jang. Chips it in front. Lass comes off the line to make the catch and dive to the ground with the ball.
What I liked about that was Jang won the ball and then played it into a dangerous area almost on consecutive beats. Like he knew where he wanted to put the ball straight away. Just Obalola made more of a back post run.
How does Hartford get more support, Phil, for getting the ball up front? I mean, it seems like it seems like they're getting the ball up front, and then there's only one person there.
Well, one of the changes they just made, Jonathan Jimenez, will give them another option if they want to play it along the floor. Marlon Hairston was a holding midfielder along with Beverly Makangila here as Jordan Scarlett ushers the ball over the touchline. I don't know if the ruling there was a throw-in or a kick. But another option, Joe, is what we just saw. Ball played in over the top. Now, it was a little bit unfortunate that Sebastian Anderson and Momo Jiang were running to the same spot, but Jiang, very good first touch on the ball, allowing himself to play the ball along the 6-yard box with a little bit of purpose. It was just one target man there because the counterattack was so quick.
It was a foul, so Siaha will trigger the free kick. It's like a fly ball to center field. And we're going to have a foul on Hartford. Momo Jiang earns a yellow. His second of the year.
He's making a case. We will see. Oh, that was a high boot. Yeah, dangerous play.
Took down Kevin Lambert. Really nothing to argue about. Brendan Burke not off the bench to dispute the call.
Yeah, head and hands for Brendan Burke, but I think that's more frustration with the result than the call. It was just unfortunate and careless play from Jiang, a young player with a high boot, catches somebody up high. You can't be upset if you're going in the book.
Eastern Conference matches tonight. Loudoun at Miami, which is currently 9th on the table. Last night, North Carolina beat Roots 2-1. Rhode Island, which was a winner over Birmingham earlier in the week, at Tampa Bay tonight. Indy 11 lost last night to El Paso 3-1. Birmingham lost midweek to Rhode Island 1-0.
That'll be Hartford's next match, away to Indy 11 in 11 days' time.
Supposed to be the second meeting between the two sides this year, but the snow and the inclement conditions forced the match here in April to be pushed back until September when we don't think there'll be any snow.
No.
Now, you've got a meteorologist. You've got a meteorologist in your family, so if you could check on that.
You never know, but Hartford in September is generally the best time to be here. It is a delightful season right before the leaves start changing colors.
There you see Lambert.
Single leg takedown?
Yeah, getting some revenge. He would have gotten 2 points in wrestling, but gets a foul here. Hartford on the retreat. And they'll play it all the way back to Siaha as we hit the 64th minute. Boy, they're giving Siaha some problems. He barely got it to Joe Farrell.
Yeah, Siaha getting kind of cute with it in front of Evan Davila.
Prestis plays it in the middle.
Oh.
And an errant pass. And boy, it has not been a sharp first 18 minutes of the second half for the home team.
No, that was an ambitious first-time hit from Joe Farrell, but wide of Scarlett the whole way. Nothing you could do about it. And you gift possession to Lou City.
So Toch will come up and make the throw-in. Player with more minutes logged in USL in its history than any other player.
And 5 times all USL in each of the last 5 years. So he's still making an impact for the club.
Jiang plays on. Mo cuts to the middle. Avoids a tackle. Looking for help. Plays it off to Anderson.
That was a marauding run from Momo Jiang.
Now Sebastian Anderson cuts it back. Chips it in for Jiang. Never gets there. Ordonez's there to head it away. Carriaga tries to maintain. It'll be a Hartford throw-in. Sebastian Anderson looking to get it in quickly. Now we'll wait and get the deep throw-in into the box as Hartford brings bodies up from the back line to try to create some of that chaos.
At Carriaga's imperative, too, to allow some more bodies to get forward.
Farrell gets a head on it. Nobody there. Taken away. And that'll be a yellow.
That was a veteran foul from Obalola, except for the fact that he's already on a yellow, so now he's sent off and Hartford are down to 10 men.
And it means he will miss the next match. That will be the 4th red card assessed to Hartford this year. That's the most of any team in USL Championship. And you look at Adewale's reaction.
You can't argue with it.
Nope.
And looking at it, Louisville City had numbers. Phil Goodrum was flying forward. It would have taken one more stride, and he might have been in on goal 1v1.
Once again, athletic trainer Stuart Wright for Lou City out on the pitch. Obalola sees the red card.
He's saying, I got ball. He may have, but he also grabbed body to get to the ball.
Manuel Samadio will walk his teenage teammate to their side. So not only is Hartford chasing a goal, but they will have to do it 11v10, and Obalola still pleading his case.
Yeah, he's disappointed in the result because he knows this assignment in the 11 has been a great opportunity for him. He plays with high energy. He had more to give and contribute to this match. But in that moment, Lou City were countering, and he made an instinctive play to aggressively slow the counter, and it cost him his spot on the field. And now Hartford are down to 10 men for the last 25 minutes plus stoppage time.
So, for the last third of the game, will be 11v10. We'll see what Hartford does to
because they need points here. It's just going to be hard to come by, and you're certainly going to sacrifice a defensive body to do so.
Well, because whether you lose 1-0 or 2-0, 1-0 or 2-0, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, goal difference is a problem they'd love to have sitting at the bottom of the East.
Hartford with the takeaway. As I think that's Kyle Edwards tugging his game jersey on.
Yeah, Deshane Beckford's getting some instruction here.
So that is Beckford who will be coming in.
Beckford next, but Kyle Edwards is warming up with some purpose. It wouldn't surprise me if we see him as well. All the substitution options for Hartford are on the attacking side of things. They don't really have a true defender on the bench.
Beckford getting some more direction before he comes in. He missed last week's game with an injury and made it back into training this week. So things have gone from bad to worse for the local 11, which is now the local 10.
And it's unfortunate because Momo Jiang, who there gets tripped up from behind, he's been playing with a lot of intent and purpose.
And Kevin Lambert is booked. As this game begins to get a little bit chippy here in the 69th minute. As he takes down Jiang. Westfield Bank, the regional community bank focused on its customers and their financial security, the communities they share, and the teams that we root for. Westfield Bank, where better banking's all about. Online at westfieldbank.com. Member FDIC. You know what FDIC stands for, right?
Federal.
No, I'm asking you because I'm not sure.
I don't. I know they got you for about $250,000 to protect you. That's all I know.
Long ball played into the box. Last contacts Jiang and almost loses the ball for a second.
Joe, looking for silver lining. Brendan Burke's been very honest with us over the last few weeks about Momo Jiang and his potential. And they had a 30-minute one-on-one conversation after practice on Wednesday this week, just trying to help the young man find his ceiling. Prior to Obalola's red card, some of the intent with which Momo Jiang was moving the ball forward, I think, is exactly what Brendan Burke wants to see from him with more regularity over 90 minutes.
Yeah, he sat Jiang at the beginning last week. He came in when Jack Paniotu went out with the injury. Here's Lou City up into the attacking third, looking to add on to that 1-0 lead. Being very patient with the ball.
Oh, no need to do anything but.
McCabe up ahead. That's Evan Davila into the box. Davila runs over Sebastian Anderson. Referee tells him to stay on the ground. And we're going to get Deshane Beckford into the game for
Cariaga.
Does that surprise you?
Not necessarily. Cariaga was subbed off in 2 of the last 3 matches, and it's hard to say there's any measure of surprise. The calculus kind of goes out the window when you drop to 10 men. So an attacking player through whom you can build up, I don't know if that's going to be Hartford's avenue to an equalizer. It's going to be a long ball, a fortuitous deflection, a long run from Momo Jiang, perhaps winning a free kick. Some of those things, Deshane Beckford, we've seen him do this in last season. So it's not a knock against Cariaga. It's just strategy and the game plan kind of goes out the window when you're a goal behind and a man down.
Macangila in the middle. Tries to play direct for Jiang.
Yeah, a little late on that service. That ball was there, and he took an extra beat.
Beckford gathers into the box, plays it off Toch, and Toch clears it over the touchline, saves a corner kick. It'll be a Hartford throw.
Good early energy from Beckford to get involved and create something of a threat.
Deshane with one of the 4 Hartford goals this season. Played into the box. Easily played for loss. Hartford player gets sent sprawling. Crowd, which is working itself into a bit of a lather here about the lack of calls going in the home team's favor.
Yeah, that ball was intended for Joe Farrell, but Kyle Adams didn't do anything out of sorts. It was just, collision of bodies as ultimately Damian Loss climbed the ladder to get it. As we get 2 substitutions now, Joe, for Lou City.
Aiden McFadden and Josh Jones. So Aiden McFadden will come in for Dia. So McFadden is in for Dia.
Ray Serrano's in.
Yep, Ray Serrano into the game replacing Lambert.
Who's on a yellow. That's sensible.
And Carlos.
Josh Jones, it looks like, is readying himself to come on.
Yeah.
Which is a defensive option. He was USL 2 Defender of the Year last year, started the last match. So it looks like anybody who might be in the book is coming off for Lou City.
Well, and Danny Cruz has so many people he can go to.
It's a luxury.
So Ordonez out. Josh Jones, the former University of Louisville star, 6'5". He and Adams give them some pretty good height in the back there. So Carlos Mogel into the game as well. So
yeah. And those, Joe, primarily like for like swaps. Josh Jones in at center back for Arturo Ordonez. Amadou Dia off for Aiden McFadden. McFadden likes to play in that left midfield role. He'll cut inside and create chances. And then centrally, Kevin Lambert off for Carlos Mogel.
So wholesale substitutions here in the 73rd minute.
Fresh bodies and getting anybody with a yellow card off the pitch, because we've learned, Adeobalola learned the hard way today. It just takes one moment. If you're on a yellow, you get that second booking, you're a man down.
TJ Prestis up ahead for Anderson. Boxed in and has to go backwards to Prestis.
Yeah, Jimenez was calling for it, but Anderson never really had an avenue to get him the ball.
Now Farrell plays it in the middle for Beckford.
Coming way back to receive that.
We saw Obalola do that a lot last week, successfully.
The switch there if they wanted to Scarlet. There it is.
Macangila gets it to the captain. Up to Samadia. Looking for targets.
You have Macangila centrally.
Looked like a handball that wasn't called. Kept in. Wheeling shot attempt never gets through. Hartford still without a shot on target. Look at Siaha.
But that was decent there from Hartford. A man down. Worked wide. Got it in. Jimenez's shot was blocked. But if you're looking at ways to get scoring opportunities, beggars can't be choosers. They're not going to have a lot of them in the last quarter of an hour.
Scarlett plays it midfield to Farrell to an open TJ Prestis in front of the Hartford bench on the west touchline. They try a give and go, but it's unsuccessful. It'll be a throw-in for Lou City, leading 1-0. Price Chopper is an official partner of Hartford Athletics. Soccer fans, save 15% with your Advantage Edge card off general admission tickets to all Hartford Athletic home games here at Trinity Health Stadium. Visit PriceChopper.com for more details on this amazing offer. Shots now 7-2. Hartford has been unable to muster a shot. And here comes Lou City again.
Aiden McFadden screaming forward in a crossfield pass. If not for a 1-0 scoreline and possession being a priority, perhaps that ball would have been deployed.
Now Adams, the long-haired New Zealander, gets it to McCabe, to McFadden, the former Notre Dame star. Into the box, or right at the 18 it goes. Time, the ally of Lou City. Now Jones. Off to Toch. Boy, I'll tell you what, Jones hits. Josh Jones is a big boy.
He stands out.
Lou City being very technical here. That's one thing that Danny Cruz did not like in the last two games. The U.S. Open Cup loss to Minnesota United and the scoreless draw with Pittsburgh. He said technically they just weren't good enough. That's what they worked on in training this week.
And he didn't signal out Josh Jones per se, but it was Jones's first start, and he was subbed off at the half, and the trio of changes at the half was the question on which he was prompted, that he suggested a little bit of lack of on-the-ball quality. So an opportunity for redemption here for Jones. In that back three, you're not going to get a ton of minutes. So for the very big-bodied young man going body-to-body against Momo Jiang here. Joe, does it surprise you that Jones was first-team All-State in basketball?
No, not at all. Jones
seems to check out looking at his frame.
Jones took out Jiang. Is Hartford getting another substitute ready? This should be Kyle Edwards. Because, frankly, there aren't many other options.
That's it. It's the two young men from the academy and your backup goalkeeper. So, I mean, Juan Ribero's going to get a look at some point, but they do have a fifth substitute to make after this, so still could be today.
If need be, due to injury.
We just haven't seen any of the academy young men get any playing time yet in a league match.
It's going to be Edwards in, TJ Prestis out.
And that's the requisite attacking substitution. You take off a defensive player who we just saw, kind of have a little bit of a heavy touch and a build-up. A young man, TJ Prestis, who had a great shift, but if you're going to get an equalizer, this is a type of substitution you have to make. Kyle Edwards, a trio of goals last season for Hartford. 12 of his 16 appearances came off the bench. So he's accustomed to the super sub role. They could really use one here.
7th appearance of the season for Edwards. He's only started once. That came in the win against Birmingham. Came off the bench last week against Detroit City. Hartford just unable, Phil, to penetrate that back three for Louisville.
And they've shown flashes, but it's only been half scoring opportunities. The margins aren't that great, though. I mean, Jonathan Jimenez, we saw him kind of falling to the turf, shoot the ball a yard wide from the penalty spot. If that's on frame, it's troubling the goalkeeper. It's just you're not going to get a preponderance of opportunities over the next 12 minutes plus stoppage time being a man down.
Jones called for the foul. Boy, Jiang spent a lot of time on the turf. He'll be in the ice bath when this one's over.
No, he's 21. He can handle it.
I'd be in the ice bath. I'd be submerged in the ice bath. And I'm slightly older than 21. 79th minute. Crowd looking for something for the home team.
Decent ball.
Headed by Farrell. Kept in by Macangila, but played over the goal line.
Here we go.
So here's
your corner kick. Joe, and remember last year, Momo Jiang, no goals in his first 12 matches, and then he scored 11 in the last 18. So there is something to be said about some players. They kind of get their feet underneath them about this time of the year.
So it'll be Samadi to trigger from the right of Damian Last. Headed out of danger.
Yeah, not great service there in that corner.
You got to elevate the ball in the corner kicks. I mean, so often that's the problem is you don't get enough air under it.
And as an out-swinging kick, it's low and it's even wide of the 6-yard box. Had that been even a little closer to goal, perhaps the attacking or the defending player has to just put it over the line. It was just where it was. It made a clearing header very, very easy for the defense. And a team that's already pretty good in the air.
Jiang controls the first and second headers.
Well won.
Into the box. Played for Jang on the run. A shot just wide. Momo Jang with the best opportunity of the night for Athletic. Almost with the equalizer, but he sailed it wide to the near post.
The experience of Kyle Edwards to just know where to head that ball and let Jang run underneath it. He's encouraged. He's prompting the crowd to stay loud. I know he's going to be sick to his stomach when he sees that replay because he had the whole far side of the goal for a shock equalizer there.
And that was the type of play in the second half of last year that Momo was converting into goals.
Again, 11 goals in the last 18 matches last season.
Dayhill Dome is the place to play. Open to all ages and abilities. Rent the facility to run your own league or register for one of theirs. Either way, they welcome everyone to experience the best sports facility in the region. Visit dayhilldome.com to learn more.
Off his foot, Joe, I thought that was going to the back of the net.
Here's McCabe on the counter. Sends it across, the header, and it goes just wide.
Siaha caught between two minds there. He was very quick to come off his line, and then 90% of the way there hit the brakes, left his goal completely unattended.
Hartford playing a man down. Adewale Obalola sent off for 2 yellows in the 65th minute. Foul called on Lou City.
Yeah, Josh Jones ruled to have gone through the back of Momo Jiang.
Hartford tried to advance the ball. Quick restart. Boy, Siaha was coming. He wants to take all those kicks from midfield. The big man in pink.
As we get later on, it wouldn't surprise me. His service is adequate, and you need as many bodies forward as you can get when you're a man down.
Here's Siaha. High in the air.
Won by Kyle Edwards. Terrifically done.
Here's Jang, left footer, deflected. It'll be a corner for Hartford here in the 83rd minute.
And this from Momo Jiang is what Brendan Burke had seen. And, I mean, this young man, without his running mate, Nobolola, has just created problems even a man down in the last few minutes. I think there's a growing sense of belief, Joe, in this crowd that an equalizer may be coming.
Once again, Manny Samadia will play it in.
Better.
This time he gets some air into it. Jang with a header. Cleared out by Jones. Hartford keeps it in, but they turn it over.
Yeah, good idea from Beckford trying to go wide to Samadia straight away, but just lacking quality on the ball itself.
Manny Perez trying to get a run going, but played over the far touchline, and now Louisville will slow it down as we approach the 84th minute, leading 1-0. Watch this by Jang.
First time with his left foot. That's a tough ball. I mean, it's not one you play often, collecting a ball from straight down and trying to put it on goal.
But he stayed back on it and had about as good a form as you can from that position.
I mean, he didn't whiff on it by any means. It just kind of pulled it wide.
Toch to throw it in from the far side.
It's just a man down against that Lou City defense. You're not going to get a ton of those opportunities. Credit to he and Kyle Edwards, though, in creating a half chance.
Here's McFadden. Plays it off wide. McCabe in the box. Shot deflected by Macangila.
That would have been troubling had Beverly not gotten to that. I think that may have had Siaha beaten far post.
Jones gets there ahead of Jang. Lou City maintains possession as they change fields. McCabe sends it cross field to Toch. In the middle, Taylor Davila. Now Kyle Adams. 1-0 Lou City. Here's a McFadden open on the wing. Serves it wide. Hartford goal kick. Tonight's Hartford Business Journal Business Alliance partner of the match, Excel International. So another sub. This will be Jansen Wilson, the 24-year-old from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Will come in for the goal scorer, Philip Goodrum. Subbed out. He scored his 50th career goal in the 40th minute. A nice sliding ball on an assist from Adrian Perez. That's the only goal of the match so far.
And they bring in Jansen Wilson, who himself has started 6 matches this season. And again, Danny Cruz trying to figure out the right trio up front. Like for like swap, you get fresh legs. Philip Goodrum has put in a shift. I mean, some of these counterattacks, even in the second half with the lead, he was the one who was flying forward trying to threaten Hartford and get numbers. And in fact, it was his run that prompted Obalola's foul that gave him the second yellow. So you get fresh legs on up front for Lou City, which they'll take.
Manny Perez running through Samadia on the far side.
Be interested to see how many minutes are added on here, because there have been some fouls and some checks of well-being, and the referee did point at his watch when Goodrum was leaving the field.
I have not heard from Sir Thomas of Stanwix. I would give you 4 minutes of stoppage.
4 feels right. Great job for Edwards to get onto that.
Edwards gets there first. Edwards tries to
Physical
maintain
play.
possession. Hartford throw in Sebastian Anderson.
Yeah, here comes Anderson. Jimenez gets out of the way.
He'll try to throw this one deep into the box, where Hartford searching for the equalizer. Never gets to Farrell.
Right back to Anderson.
Now the chip into the goal, punched out by Las. Kept in the far side. Hartford pressing the attack, intended for Jang. And just kicked out of bounds out of the suite, so it's another corner for Hartford.
Tell you, Hartford's making Lou City sweat more than I thought they would when they went a man down.
This time it'll be Anderson from the near side. Crowd trying to urge Athletic on. Header, goal! We are all even at 1. Off the set piece in the 88th minute.
Kyle Edwards has been magnificent since he subbed on. If there was an equalizer to be found, I know Momo Jiang had been the target man and putting in a lot of high effort, but Kyle Edwards changed the complexion of this Hartford attack and climbs a ladder, just puts the ball right back from where it comes from into the side netting. Terrific service from Sebastian Anderson off the corner, but Kyle Edwards, the composure, a young man who had 7 goals for this team 2 years ago, saw himself more reduced to a super sub role. He is a super sub today, and he has Hartford on the cusp of a very unlikely point here at home.
First goal of the season for the veteran from St. Vincent and Grenadines. Off the set piece, the corner kick from Anderson. It'll be Sebastian's first assist of the year, and we are all even at 1.
And game on, because Lou City knows up a man against a Hartford team that had 4 points on the year. They expect to close this out and get 3 points. And now they have to find a way. They haven't made completely defensive substitutions. They've made some attacking subs. Hartford has to see this out. Work remains.
Here's Jang in the middle of the field, plays it up ahead.
Not a turnover you want to make.
No. Taken away by Toch. So Hartford scores a man down. I'm surprised we've seen McCabe go the distance. We're hearing from the booth, the production booth, Brignall Vineyard stoppage time, 5 minutes.
And with the goal, since we made our 4-minute assessment, that
right,
feels
exactly.
about right.
We were dead on. We were spot on.
Turnover
nice
here.
Play, take it away. Here's Hartford on the counter. Looking for the go-ahead goal. Played up ahead on the left.
Over the touchline.
Samadia can't believe the call, but it'll go to Lou City. And that was a header from distance.
Yeah.
By Kyle Edwards.
But they say in that situation, just head the ball back the same direction from which it came. There's nothing a goalkeeper can do. You have a big area of the goal to aim at and a decent margin for error as that goes over the end line for a goal kick.
Macangila and Taylor Davila exchange pleasantries as the crowd is now informed by the table official, Andrew Parada, that it is, as a Hartford player is down, 5 minutes of Brignall Vineyard stoppage time.
Joel, work remains against a quality Lou City team with a lot of experience, but this is one of those Hartford beats Lou City 1-1 if this is the final. That's the headline. This would be a high character point from a team to come down against this defensive side down a man.
The first goal for Hartford this season after the 75th minute.
Good time
They'd been
for it.
outscored 4-0. Now, they'd only scored 4 goals all year coming in, so maybe not as big a surprise, but you can make stats work however you'd like them.
But just how flat things seem for Hartford at the start of the second half, and then they go down a man, and Lou City just seems so comfortable in their half of the field. Momo Jiang just being so much more purposeful every time he came onto the ball, and Kyle Edwards when he came onto the field. This is the kind of thing I think Brendan Burke's going to want to bottle up and take forward.
Lou City tries a counter.
Now, if I'm Hartford, I know they're feeling pretty confident. They have too many bodies forward. They had 3 players at midfield. That leaves only 6 back for a Lou City side that you know is trying to get all 3 points here.
Shot whistled wide by Jansen Wilson, the former Belmont College and Kentucky Wildcat soccer player.
Yeah, former Kentucky Gatorade Player of the Year. When he was at college at both Kentucky and Belmont, he spent his summers training with Lou City. So no surprise he got a call at the professional level to ply his trade here.
Lou City controls. Hartford gets it right back. Jimenez. Open in the middle. Hartford looking for the go-ahead goal. Edwards had the equalizer. Now Jimenez. Anderson plays it ahead. Hartford throwing. They look for Jiang in the box. Toch had him covered. It'll be a throw-in again for Anderson.
Anderson in complete control there. Sees Momo Jiang making a run, throws it toward him, gets headed out, ushers the ball out of bounds. He knows time's on his side here. Keep the ball away from their defensive half, and now get collected for a potential attacking header or attacking throw-in.
This is going to have to take all of Sebastian Anderson's throwing ability. Good throw into the box. Kyle Adams clears it out. Anderson can't control. Nice play. Good job by Beckford to Anderson. The service to the box. Up in the air. Still in the air. Cleared out by Lou City. It'll be a corner kick for Hartford.
Hearts in throats in Louisville. That ball was ping-ponging around within 2 meters of the goal. It would have just taken one awkward deflection and Hartford would have had a match winner. Now they have a corner.
You can see the wind has become a factor here. We were expecting weather to come in around 9 o'clock. We are at that point.
Oh.
So here's Samadia.
Hartford would love a bolt of lightning here.
Beckford will keep it in. Looking to serve it towards the goal. Just sails it wide. Looking for Jiang.
I think there was a little bit of adrenaline in that cross. It was well directed, but just a little too much on it. The ball floated over the goal line.
You could hear the groan from the crowd as the ball went over the goal line.
It was a great idea. It was directed toward the right spot, just about 5 yards too deep.
Playing down a man, Hartford gets the equalizer.
This has been a heck of a match.
You could see the wind take that ball by Damian Loss.
Yeah, the wind blowing right toward the Lou City goal. It's really picked up.
Played back by Hartford. Toch will get there first and head it to his keeper. And if you're Hartford, this is a tie that will be a very big point. If you're Lou City, it will not be a happy plane flight back.
Well, they're running out of time. About 30 seconds left in the 5 added minutes.
Farrell goes over the top. Lou City contains at midfield. Played out here on the left for Aiden McFadden. With space.
He can create.
Cuts it back, chips it. Siaha says no. Gets to the 6 and catches it.
And Kyle Edwards at midfield is giving him as much of a third base coach stop sign as you can.
Yeah, Dan Gasper.
Take your time.
Dan Gasper, the goalkeeping coach for Hartford, jumped off the bench with his hands up. Hartford looking for the...
Siaha had his eyes toward a match-winning assist.
Played up in the air. Hartford looking for that final whistle. Lou City looking for a miracle here to try to get the 3 points.
And Hartford's been closer to the goal, to the second goal for their team since the equalizer than Lou City has.
So we are past 5 minutes of stoppage time. Here's McFadden, or rather, here's Jang. Cuts it up to the right. Watched by Adams and McFadden. Tries to split him. Goes down. Nothing called. And we have reached full time. So Hartford, with a point that was well-deserved. They trailed for much of the match. They were down a man for the final 25 minutes as Jang is down, being attended to by Mike Diaz.
The Hartford bench wanted that foul to be given to give themselves one more opportunity at goal. But despite the frustration in that non-call, I think once they get back to the changing room, the Hartford 18, the boys who are out on the field tonight will be very proud of this comeback result and to get a draw.
Siaha with a push. Look out.
Edwards, yeah.
Siaha and Edwards. Siaha getting into it with one of the reserves. Now Damian Loss trying to get into it with Siaha. Kyle Adams wants a piece of the Hartford goalie.
Yeah, Kyle Edwards is playing peacekeeper here, as is the goalkeeping coach. That all started, words exchanged between Siaha and Adams. I don't know who prompted it, but neither man was backing down, and then you get tired bodies around them and adrenaline high. Things escalated pretty quickly.
Joe Farrell talking to the officials. Siaha being escorted by his goalkeeping coach, Danny Gasper. An emotional end to a big 1 point for Hartford Athletic. In full time, Athletic won. Lou City won. Phil and I will be back to wrap it up next here on ESPN Plus, MyTV9, and WTNH.com.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.
Well, it has not ended here. As we went to break, there was more of a melee, more pushing and shoving. And referee J.C. Griggs held up a red card. We have received no word on who was the recipient of that red card. As you see a very upset Brendan Burke. He wants everybody to get into the changing room. Now applauds the supporters who have been in Hartford's quarter. What a wild ending to the night, Murph.
Yeah, and it's a disappointing way for it to end. I know emotions are high, and both clubs probably pointing at somebody from the other side as the one kicking it off. From a Hartford standpoint, they showed a lot of character coming back from a goal down and a man down to find an equalizer and, frankly, be the team that was the greater threat in the closing stages. But we can't just dismiss what the pushing and shoving, because that red card was shown to somebody. Was it one of the coaches or was it a player? For Lou City, that means somebody's missing out on the Monterey Bay match. For Hartford Athletic, that means somebody's not going to make the trip to Indy when they're already kind of shorthanded.
Well, and Obalola's not making
already
the trip
suspended for the next match as well.
Indy for his 2 yellow cards. You got a quick look at the final stats. A reminder that our broadcast has been brought to you by Central Connecticut State University. Apply today at ccsu.edu as you look at people, the players walking off the pitch, the security people, the gentleman in the light blue shirt. Don't forget, join us for our next home match. Can't promise the same sort of fireworks. Friday, June 6th against North Carolina at 7:30 p.m. as we celebrate Community Health Night presented by Trinity Health of New England. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today at HartfordAthletic.com. So Philip Goodrum, his 50th career goal in the 40th minute. Adewale Obalola sent off in the 65th minute. And then Kyle Edwards with the header from distance in the 88th minute off the corner kick from Sebastian Anderson. And we ended up in a 1-1 tie. For my broadcast partner, Phil Murphy, and our crew, I'm Jody Ambrosio. Thanks for watching. Hartford Athletic 1, Lou City 1. Good night, everybody.